next story I wanted to go into was a mother in Australia here taking legal action against the South Australian government because of what her child was subjected to in schools. And this is happening all around Australia. It's obviously happening around America as well.
Nikki Gaylard feels betrayed and heartbroken about what happened to her daughter, Courtney.
Courtney just said, I didn't want to be there, Mum, but I didn't know what to do.
The mother of 6 is set to file a lawsuit against the South Australian government in Adelaide's District Court after a presentation at Renmark High School to Year 9 girls last year allegedly referenced bestiality and incest, presenters using the terms sister love and brother love.
And my daughter comes home and feels uncomfortable hugging her brother because she's confused about whether that's because it's her brother.
Miss Gaylard says the girls were also shown graphic images of a topless woman post-gender transition surgery, the surgical scars visible. The mum withdrew her teenager from the school the same day. School principal Matt Evans apologised at the time for the inappropriate material.
So, taught about and about calling it brotherly love and sisterly love, and then shown all of these images to try and normalize trans surgeries to 14-year-old girls at a school. And it does get younger than this, but I mean, 14 is still freaking 14. They're children. So what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
I've never had a problem with sex education at a school. So the idea of how reproduction works and reproductive organs and things like this, that's part of biology. And I don't actually have any issues with it. Never had any issues with it. The reproductive health of people is something which, especially young people, it's something that they ought to know, right? These are your ovaries. This is what these sex organs are intended for. This is all part of biology. This is different, though. This has nothing to do with that at all. This is an abortion of biology. The idea now is this is how you make a Frankenstein's monster, and this is what it looks like, and isn't this interesting? And it's like, no, it's sick and disgusting. You might as well go grab pictures from rotten.com and start showing them to kids. The next is the idea here that incest is becoming quickly normalized. Do you know why that's happening, though?
No, I'm curious, though,
because there's a very seeded movement of people who can't make a good argument against homosexuality because of the argument. Meaning, why do you find homosexuality to be problematic? Well, why do you find it to be problematic? Whatever the reason that you have for that, you can apply that equally to homosexuality, and that destroys the argument. So what gay advocacy groups are now moving towards is that non-reproductive incest is fine. And also, not just gay advocacy groups, but progressive advocacy groups, also that having multiple marriages, at the same time is also completely appropriate. So you can marry 4, 5, 6 people and all of you are married at once. So all of this is designed to push and flex against the sexual morality system, which is in place for Western nations.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, how do they get away with it, though? I mean, I remember when I was at school, none of this sort of shit would really happen. It's because the curriculum was always sort of very closely watched. And I guess the parents would be watching what you're doing for homework and everything. But I can't imagine ever having these sorts of things. Like, there was one guy who came, I remember, and he was telling us not to watch porn. And he did this. That happened a few times during my high school at an all-boys school. They would come and do presentations about why it's bad to watch porn and everything, but they would never go into graphic or explicit stuff. And I think that the message was generally pretty good. But this sort of stuff is the opposite now. They're overtly sexualizing these teenagers.
Well, I'm trying to remember back, because I think we had sex ed in elementary school, like late elementary school before we got to middle school, was when sex ed started. And I don't remember it being particularly graphic. It was just like, I remember the teacher saying something like, hey, yes, we're going to be showing pictures of the human body, keep yourselves under control. Don't make too many jokes about it, that kind of thing. And then he kind of just methodically went through and explained, these are the organs, here's what they do, here's why they do that, blah, 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 blah. And boys went to one class where it was the male gym teacher who explained sex ed. And then girls went to another class where it was a female teacher who explained sex ed to them. That was basically how that worked. And so they still showed the same images. This is a naked female body, this is a naked male body, this is, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't remember it being particularly graphic or over the top or anything like that. And it was also separated by sex. Now, though, this is a completely different thing. This what they're showing you now is what you do. You know what I mean? Like what you're supposed to do with this info. Oh, if you want to cut off your boobs and your penis, that's fine. Different strokes for different folks. And the normalization of and other forms of sexual degeneracy, which is, I think, the movement towards this from progressives is to put stress on the sexual moral system of Western nations.
Yeah, and especially, teenagers, you have to be really careful about how you go about this because they're really, in many cases, not sort of equipped to have these conversations, especially around all their peers. Like, I remember one time we were studying a movie in media studies because I used to study films in high school. And the movie had some titties in it, and me and the boys were all just going wild in the room because it was like there was a titty on the screen, and we were like pissing ourselves laughing. And the teacher was like, "Oh, it's just a woman's body," but it was crazy because there was a titty on the screen. I can't imagine having this whole presentation about how much we would have mocked it, but I guess it's different for everyone.
Yeah, a commenter makes a good point. He said, you realize everybody who was against sex education in school warned against this, right? Yeah, I understand that. But the thing is if you were able to keep it, let me ask you this, Chatter. If you were able to keep it where it was like how it was when I was in, elementary school or eighth grade, I think it was eighth grade or seventh grade or some shit like that, where the boys were taken to one room and girls to another room, and it was explained to them what the reproductive organs were, what this is, what that is, and they kind of went through all of it. Would you even have an issue with that? I understand the idea of there's a slippery slope where it can lead to this. I get that. I'm not disputing that, but is there actually anything fundamentally wrong if inside of a public school they explain the reproductive anatomy of human beings? I just don't think that that's a huge problem. I don't think that's a huge issue.
I don't know. Like in public schools, for example, you do see a lot of sex and everything, and I guess sex education isn't going to be the thing that's going to like tip them over the line or something. But do you really want someone who's or at least run the risk of having sort of teaching your kids about sex?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the argument. I just don't remember it being that way. So how it was like, first of all, gym teachers used to be cool, right? When the gym teacher was always the guy who he just didn't give a shit about whatever the academic standards were. He would be the guy who'd catch you smoke and just be like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. I don't care. Just have
Yeah.
the cigarettes," or he would take them away, but he wouldn't write you up or anything like that. And usually you just went to a room, right? And he explained anatomy to you, and then that was the end of it. Like that was it. And I don't know like how useful necessarily it was because it's a very vague recollection that I have. But
These
but
days
if
though,
it
they're
was
going to
just
do it
that,
about
if
pee
it
pee and the
was
poo poo.
yeah, but if it was just that, if it was just explaining basic reproductive organs and health to you,
Yeah.
and that babies come from penis, go, and vagina, would people actually have an issue with that if it was just that?
Yeah, if it was just that, I guess not. But these days it's like what is it, homophobic or whatever, to not also explain about how gay men have sex as well.
Not only one chatter said, not only is it not a big deal, but the school used to send home a permission slip. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I had that too. They see, like this is so many years ago, man. But that chatter's right. They sent home a permission slip, and the permission slip would cover what you were going to learn. And your parents had to sign it, and then you brought the permission slip back. And if you were like a Mormon or something like that, you just didn't go to the class.
Yeah.
They
Same
had
here
you
in
like
Canada, by the way.
yeah, they had you like go pick up trash or some shit. You know what I mean?